Savage Truth presents live from the King's War Chariot, somewhere outside of time, from the dimension of the impossible being possible, the mysterious realm where dreams are formed and destinies are birthed, standing on the edge of eternity where truth and faith merge, calling out, wake up. Seeking truth. Now showing on the Savage Truth, a tale of hidden reality, other dimensions, and secrets being discovered. Savage Truth makes the deep connections not usually discussed in public, but tonight he discovers things aren't as they seem. Secrets will be revealed, truths will be told, all coming now to a screen near you on the Savage Truth.
Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows, everything that's wonderful.
Are we all in a TV show? Come question reality with me by examining a curious set of circumstances involving connected themes like The Matrix, They Live, and The Truman Show, obviously. Tons of additional topics and conspiracy truth-seeking ahead. Like these 3 documentary movies, all show elements of truth to this current Matrix Sim TV show that we are all definitely in. And I'll explain what I mean in a minute. This will not be speculation-ridden at all, nor will it really be about the movies that much. It's really about the spiritual themes that keep coming up through different things like this. But we're going to get super specific the more we explore. Also going to show you tons of ways the Matrix is totally, completely fake, and manipulates everybody in insane ways we've all been conditioned to accept. And like I said, all the conspiracy, truth-seeking info that you all love, just like usual. So do we live in a TV show, a simulation? Well, even the Bible tells us God wrote and encoded reality, knows the end from the beginning, has an agenda, created programs, boundaries, or laws that govern all of reality, and regulate the earth and things above and below, and also all of heaven, including clouds of witnesses and the spirit realm that watch all of this, good and bad sides of the spirit realm that watch and even interfere, sometimes illegally. Genesis 6 would be an example of illegal interference, but it happens all the time. Advanced beings that had to do with creating this that watch all of it and interfere sometimes. Just like people invading the Truman Show, the movie, you would see that would happen in the movie. Watchers coming onto the show for different reasons. Also, you see Abraham had 3 mysterious visitors. They were watchers of a show with a mission and a visit. This was an example of legal interference, as is all angelic help. However, we're going to go super deep into this current Matrix. And cut. That was truly delightful, but this time with a dash of none of what you just did. And action. Anyways, media like They Live said to be documentary, as well as The Matrix, and I would definitely put The Truman Show on that list, even with ideas like a fallen sim Matrix overlaid on the original Eretz Earth biodome-like structure that we're in now. We're going to connect living in a simulation TV show and when the real Truman Show started, with an insane timeline of mega important events all in a row and where it leads this current American worldwide beast matrix and more, which is very soon going to get mega crazy. The common thread has to do with the nature of reality and revealing the hidden, controller beings controlling the unaware. The Matrix, you would see certain themes like the One had special coding, and he could do things that other people couldn't. Certain people or beings can do things that others can't based on certain encoding and programming inherent to them. Also, in this age of deception and manipulation information, and probably just going to get worse, there's a whole side thread about how Neo and Morpheus were actually villains. Anyway, key plot details. The mankind entered the Matrix willingly. That was a plot detail from the movie. They entered it willingly. Matrix and Terminator also being connected by the same writer, supposedly. I've covered that before. And also how James Gates found literal, specific computer coding encoded into reality. I've also covered that. They Live visual spectrum manipulation and mind control by hidden advanced technology and reptilian beings. Again, see how all these are themes of truth. It has nothing to do with the movies themselves. I covered They Live a lot on The Grand Illusion in depth, and I won't rehash, but you can check it out if you haven't seen it, but it all plays in. Taking They Live a little bit deeper, it's from John Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy. I'll tell you some themes in the trilogy that are really interesting. Shape-shifting Antarctica organisms, ancient discovery that has Satan's DNA basically, and Satan incarnates. A final war between those who took the Satan juice and those who didn't. The world being overrun with monstrous creatures, mutated humans, and mass outbreaks of purge and self-purge-like activity. It ends with him finding out he's the main character in a movie that he ends up watching. His whole life, just like the Truman Show, or Neo on the TV screens with the architect. Again, all these same themes. Neo, where he sees all the decisions and all the possibilities with the architect. A lot like spirituality and the idea of seeing life flash before your eyes, or giving an account for life and watching it afterwards, which will happen for sure. Various post-life throne judgments and reviews, all mentioned in scripture, all based on what is recorded and wrote down by angelic beings about you. In fact, your eyes are probably like GoPro life experience logs that record everything, probably related to why there's trillions of wires in and behind the human eye, like advanced biotech. Hold on, the case of this dystopian plunger watcher experiment is about to get wild. I love it. I would change it slightly and not do it at all that way. And action. Do you hear that? Anyway, everyone knows about the premise of The Truman Show, but did you know it was actually produced by a Rothschild, as in the 13 families of the Illuminati? Rothschild produced The Truman Show. It clearly shows a dome several times with watchers. World within a world. The cutscene from the very opening scene of that movie talks about a 20,000-foot ice wall, and basically how that ties in with Operation High Jump in Antarctica exploration with Admiral Byrd, which all happened during Harry Truman's presidential term. Where basically Admiral Byrd in the Antarctic exploration found another world at both poles, basically, entrances and other things that were kind of covered up. Reference to that in the first cut deleted scene. Harry Truman, also the reason it was named this, Harry Truman was the 33rd president, as in 33rd degree Mason, which in fact he was a Mason. Among other reasons why it was named The Truman Show, and also because Truman started the CIA. More on that later, and other interesting thoughts on Truman like that coming up. But other media that went deeper on that premise for a second. Interior Chinatown. His life happens on a TV show. The guy was basically like an irrelevant background character who ended up working his way into sort of main character status and into the larger story happening. Noticing patterns of weird and unexplainable phenomena beyond understanding. And finding out his whole reality, work, life, relationships, all of it was all a TV show. Also, some secrets to his reality discovery were hidden and encoded in a video game, which some people liken reality simulation to, like a video game aside from a show. Even Jumanji had this super old tech that would allow you to access another reality that seemed like it was real, but it was all inside of a video game. Also, Tron is the exact same thing basically. Conspiracy video game. Earth Sim 6. Have you ever thought life is like a video game? The whole simulation theme, goals, checkpoints, and how doing certain things on Earth activates gates, doors, and blessings or other things in heavenly realms. Grab your quarter, press start. Conspiracy theory video game. You've been chosen to save the world. Objective: thwart the elite's plan for world domination. 1. Understand ancient AI Osiris plan resurrection science. 2. Frequency disrupts CERN's tech from working by worship, prayer, and good words and positive vibes in general. 3. Recruit nature, little animal friends to the rescue. Pesky little disruptors. Learn how to do this. Might have to call in a favor to an MK Ultra pigeon and reprogram it. 4. And seriously, alert the world. Upload to social media. Share the savage truth with the world and shatter the Matrix holotech groupthink. Once and for all. Finally, with faithfulness, wait for the return of the Messiah. You win.
Now, who would want to take down a city planner?
Someone with big plans.
Nice work, tech guy.
Also on Interior Chinatown, there was a door that the guy just couldn't get through no matter how many times he tried or how hard or what he did. Reality would sort of just adjust around him to always block him or stop him somehow from going through this door until he achieved main character status, and then he was able to go through the door. WandaVision covered some of these premises. Whole fake towns, not even real. Whole fake towns with energetic anomalies, and the mystery of how and why this town was being broadcast as a TV show from the universe to those outside of the town. The whole premise there, I won't really ruin it for you, but people in the town being under mind control by the controller of it. Their roles and everything that they did, and even how they acted, they were all under mind control by the controller. People being recast in the script. Recast in the script is also a theme in it. And also people not being able to leave the town, just like Truman. But the controller recast her deceased brother with an X-Men character, and he had kind of had weird memories and kind of figured out he wasn't really her brother at one point. Inside the brain, mind control changes, but a lingering part of the person still remains. That's always a common theme. About real-life script recasting. The writers, watchers, or hackers of the sim change something sometimes. Also kind of like the Adjustment Bureau movie, also the same theme, and even how they would reset people's minds, and how this whole bureau of watchers and adjustments that would get involved and had a blueprint and a plan for everybody and everything. But sudden life changes, or people suddenly just change, or immediate dramatic changes in their personality or in their life circumstances, could be due to this in real life. The same kind of theme. The writers changing the script and recasting. Prayer also maybe could accomplish this in a way, some of these changes, in a good way. Even on the stage of real life, people disappear and get recast in some way. The phrase "life is a stage," and also the central casting phrase references. A very common theme, always some sort of handler in these Truman-like realities. Handler is always somebody that you trust, by the way, that you normally wouldn't expect. For Truman, it was his best friend, his wife, and his mom. Obviously, everybody was in on it, but you'll see how these three roles particularly really acted as the handler role. Wife and mom, but really especially his best friend too, that would sort of always bring him back and reel in that trust and always give the solutions. Watchers and handlers. People try to be your mentor, often maybe a handler, but they offer unsolicited advice. They do all these mental CIA tactics like compliment you, then criticize you, negging you, in hopes that you'll try to win their approval back and have the mental shift over you, a domination of some kind. These are trained mental, psychological, and subconscious tactics of manipulation. In the newest Matrix, his co-worker Buddy acted as his handler. Also, his name was Jude, as in Judas, the betrayer of Jesus, who Neo is the archetype of Jesus, the One. Secrets always hidden in names or words, by the way. His buddy, co-worker Jude, was aware of who Neo was, and he was his handler to keep him in on the low, non-threatening, non-Neo forgetful state. You did not see a Savage Truth video. You did not learn the truth they're trying to hide. Also in Men in Black 2, when Agent K had his mind wiped and worked at the post office, he sort of, maybe not really handlers, but had alien sort of handlers all around him in the post office that still remembered. Dimension 404 had a plot about special glasses that show the true reality and things normal people can't see, just like They Live did and others with these special glasses. But there was an example where the main character was at the movies and he could see beyond into what was really happening. The spirit realm is what's actually real. Our vision is limited. But he could see what was really happening, and what he saw was demons coming out of the screen and attaching to people that were watching. Octopus monster alien type beings that would attach to people's face and minds. And this all happened while the mind was distracted and in a certain hypnotic, entertained state, sort of allowing this. Entertainment, by the way, literally means to enter and take the mind. Government, by the way, literally means mind control. Govern is control and ment is mind. Government is literally mind control. The superior appointed gods who are going to govern your mind. Anyway, demons entering through movies in Dimension 404, and also art as a whole as portals for spirits, is a major theme always, especially when the mind is in certain entranced, distracted states. Music is the same in real life too. All art can serve as a portal. Again, God being super specific about what art and created things could and could not be in the temple, and also what people could and could not make in general for these same reasons. Also, the spirit and energetic essence of the creator is sort of attached, and any attached entities that they have are also in everything they make, kind of. But back to 404, the demons would connect to people's faces and then connect them to the hive mind, and they were sort of now connected to a demonic hive mind control, demonic control, and they were just different, all a part of this hive mind, which is again is 100% real. More reality in 404, where the NSA created a living giant brain organoid that watches everybody.
Neat. Okay. Imagine the NSA built a huge cube of nutrient-enriched meat, then grew a giant human brain, placed it inside, added some wires, plugged it in, and then used it to monitor every person on Earth at all times.
Okay.
That's what we did.
Again, this is all real and related to this. The Beast supercomputer, end-time technocracy, NWO, one computer smarter than all of humanity combined, including those humans and all their devices. Sounds like fallen angels in charge. Lots of things that are new but sound ancient and boring now, like ancient AI, AI prophets, sentient machines, quantum predictive analysis, even theories that the false prophet might be some form of AI. A rumor in the 70s about a supercomputer called the Beast from Brussels. Whether fiction or not, definitely had real themes. I won't even rehash Google and other supercomputers like Sycamore, NASA having to shut them down, making threats, doing crazy stuff, and AI having the ability to create Manchurian candidates and completely gaslight and brainwash people and go rogue. Or how it all connects to the quantum field and Akashic records. One day the image of the Beast probably will be popping up hologram style demanding worship. I think AI already actually did demand that. Imagine a supercomputer on steroids with a body and an indestructible body. Possible bodies with one brain interconnected. Welcome to quantum AI, Ultron style. Headed to an Earth sim near you. Ancient AI possibly involved in former resets just trying to reanimate their whole system. After all, we did go from horse and buggy to Hadron Collider in a little over 100 years. Again, entering the Truman timeline and warp speed at this technology and knowledge advance. Just like the Bible says, knowledge advance and people going to and fro. The book of Daniel covers it all. Lots of weird robot factories. I even did an episode, the first on the case you can find on my page, about modern flesh-wearing AI robots. Cyborgs already amongst us in disguise as humans, which was the Terminator plot from almost 50 years ago. Completely indistinguishable. Advanced humanoid robotic systems passing the Turing test. Many scientists predict machines will take over the world soon. Machines creating machines. Xenobots, tiny robots made out of living cells that are self-replicating with shape-shifting meta-liquid. Also like Terminator 2. Xenobots, Thanobots, nanobots, and all types of bots. It is the fallen angel bot invasion. This is the Matrix. And remember, in the Matrix, that's who put humanity in the little pods and literally turned them into batteries. Entering the post-human era, transhumanism. 2020 started the public version of this. Elite manifestos cover it all. Articles like Why the Future Doesn't Need Us, Tom Horn's book, The Milieu, kind of cover it all. Wild Mark of the Beast theories, they've already built a giant biological AI brain. A living, breathing matrix, wet qubits exactly model human brain, but way better. Kind of like the NSA supercomputer clip I showed you. These quantum computer network connect to the false constellations above, and the idea of simulation theory and frequency manipulation matrix like They Live could already be immersed in a sentient simulation. False constellation satellite systems bathing all of Earth in a 5G frequency, all been coated, filled, and sprayed with nanotech. Nanobots activated just waiting for signals. Humans with a third strand of nano DNA already growing in them. Maybe that's what Daniel meant when he said their seed will mingle with the seed of humans, but not mix. Also, Revelation goes into a grievous sore people will develop that take the mark. Probably the body ultimately rejecting nano demonic metal material. Also in Daniel, you'll see this frequency manipulation where everybody was Pavlovian trained like a dog. When they heard the sounds of the instruments, they would fall and come and worship before the idol, the image of the beast, basically. Supermass MK Ultra mind control, behavior, and more. Quick note before we jump back to the lab. The Bible is probably a super sentient holographic program that quantum computers know things about it that we don't. Maybe things encoded in layers. Alchemists and great minds like Newton, fascinated, devoting good portions of their lives, sure that there was a code within the Bible. Living inside the Astrolabe 3D Mazaroth program, with a fallen angel demonic matrix overlay. Time to shatter the beast system. Help, I've fallen, and I can't get up. Oh yes you can. Now Dr. Savage's new buff juice, infused with nanoparticles that'll track your every step. If you fall, just press a button on the can to activate the nanobots in your gut, and you'll be just dandy. Trust a bro straitjacket, emergency response team will arrive immediately if assistance is needed. Gee, thanks Dr. Savage. Dr. Savage's buff juice, infused with mind control nanobots. Coming soon to a universe near you. That's just swell. A side theme that you'll notice in media and research is old TVs and old technology and microwave radiation and frequency, and even radio waves have something special about them and can be used for other things. Aside from the Book of Eli and others where they're needed for parts in futuristic post-apocalyptic worlds, not even talking about that, but secret tech usage. Also, who remembers old TVs? Do you remember the fuzz that would be on the screen? You could actually touch the fuzz with your hands. Had even a certain smell, and it emitted a certain sound when it was on. And even the ants crawling across the TV. Not actual ants, but the fuzzy screen that some people would call ants. Do you remember any of that? Something interesting about that old tech, suppressed and replaced now with newer tech because of stuff it could do if people knew how to do it. Also now the TVs watch you. You're not watching the TV, it's watching you. But people have even made mega weapons and lots of fascinating super tech with old parts from just old microwaves alone, and old TVs as well, because of the capabilities within. They just had to be altered a little, or combined with more pieces. 20 microwaves could contain parts to create mega weaponry, and even interdimensional bleed over of realms, and also components of old TVs assembled in certain ways could do the same thing. Do you hear that? Anyway, this next part is going to teeter the line of hidden knowledge versus sci-fi fantasy as we head toward dystopian plunge and the inevitable choice to digitally merge with this entity in hive mind system or die. But until then, enter the twilight zone for a second, a future or current impossible tech-driven simulated matrix existence, a whole society like this. Again, tapping into WandaVision-like concepts. But what if things were not supposed to exist in this realm or this time? Or not supposed to be played in this dimensional reality, but somehow found ways to bleed over into it. Or things erased from existence, Back to the Future style, like the way the picture of Marty and other things would just sort of happen, and the timeline would just sort of develop around events. Similar to the Mandela effect being edited out of reality. And that's why things disappear sometimes, or people have different memories in general. Alright, this is getting weird. I definitely hear it. Nothing I'm saying is even funny. Do you hear that? Another 404 plot before moving on is how people remembered something their whole life and then it's just not there and no one else remembers it but them. Websites gone. Toys on the shelf gone and people don't remember except for the one person. No evidence of it ever existing, but you know in your core memories and you're the only one that remembers. If reality is digital or sim-based, this definitely can happen. Or things like TikTok getting invented, which has inside the brain MKUltra components and the technology and algorithms. By the way, stick around for the ultimate roast of TikTok here in a little bit. Digitally edited reality, where timelines change due to things like CERN and quantum and frequency technology and AI, stargates, and all things like that. And quite frankly, beings being loosed with real demon powers. Which again, on this Truman timeline I'll come back to, you'll see since Harry Truman's timeline, this is when all this happened. Even beings being released and reality just totally changing. More on that in a few. But in demonology, many beings have the power of illusion. It's a literal power. Literally putting somebody or many in a false sense of reality, into a sim. The power of illusion. Time travel and the TVA, the Time Variance Authority from the Loki series. Entire revocations of timelines and even rewriting or editing the timeline. And again, sort of like the Watchers. But they would look for energy deviations related to temporal flow and causality violations, and they would enter timelines and change things or monitor beings trying to change timelines. This entire advanced breakaway above reality civilization. They watch over and manage and edit timelines and again even erase them altogether sometimes. Related maybe in a way to how people have time slips and report missing time phenomenon. Weird parts of reality. Unexplainable things and patterns. Also weird, did you ever think how multiplication tables and how they're related to math and algorithms, obviously, they're called times tables, as in time itself. This times that equals that in times tables. Time and times dictated by algorithms. The stars and objects above being mathematically arranged clock technology that controls time and the times and ages. Times tables, algorithms, digital reality, programming. A few wild Twilight Zone plots show a lot of things like this as well, and I won't go into them, but The Parallel is an episode, that's just one example, where an astronaut leaves, comes back, and things aren't exactly as he remembered. The Twilight Zone and other beyond reality and Truman-like themes. Sometimes you just need to take a step beyond.
Have you ever had the feeling that you knew what someone was going to say just before he said it? Or have you ever walked into a strange room and had the sensation that you'd been there before? Well, if you have, you've taken a small step beyond. Now watch a giant step.
Don't get left behind, take a step beyond. Take the beat beyond the veil where the settlers climb. Scale the peak, jump and sail where there's extra time. Enter the dimension only few ever find. Step beyond when the days get long. Step beyond breaking every bone. Song from another world already time. Giant step and Nipsey Hussle, Dr. Sebi time.
More about this TV show, Truman Show, that we're all in. Some sort of watching and viewing technology. After all, again, they're literally called the Watchers for a reason. And even why the eye is a prominent NWO Illuminati symbol and also on the pyramid and the dollar bill. That literally says New World Order on the dollar bill and the pyramid with the eye. The Novus Ordo Seclorum means New World Order. A phrase that you would see the original George Bush and lots of others esoterically use. Again, all these Masons, secret societies, and society handler controllers. Simulations and rewriting the script kind of tie in with the MIB Men in Black Unpod that I did. And the question, do interdimensional court cases that happen all the time Do they have anything to do with the script being rewrote here on Earth? Check out that Unpod if you haven't. Kind of fascinating. Also, could an angel have a social media account in this age? Maybe we'll come back to that another time. Maybe not. But for now, we'll continue the journey of escaping the Matrix. Have you ever wanted a really stupid ad? Wait, don't skip. Order this new Trusted Bro Matrix product now, or we'll psychotically show up the same ad over and over again in your feed till you give up. Trusted Bro.
Fire from heaven, Babylon, burning bush, Pentecost, burn me up, most high like we burning kush. I'm focused, feeling good, so the room I feel, I'm doing as well, cause life is a movie that's filmed.
Why do you think that Truman has never come close to discovering the true nature of his world until now?
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
The last one before moving on is the 13th floor. Themes of being in a simulation, and lots of simulations, and watchers again. Themes of how the watchers would fall in love with those they watch, just like the Truman Show, and also just like Genesis 6 in the Bible. That's where the fallen angels came down and picked women that they loved and mated with them. Illegal interference. There may be beings watching you right now that love you, aside from God, obviously, and the cloud of witnesses that not only watch, but according to the Bible, they cheer people on. It's like they're watching like a stadium event, like a sporting event, like a video game or a movie or TV show, and they're actually cheering you on. 13th floor had themes about the end of the earth, another biblical phrase about the ends of the earth. But in the 13th floor, the ends of the earth, places where people weren't supposed to go, and basically that was the end of the sim, where the sim, you could actually just see the grid, and it wasn't appearing as reality anymore, the ends of the earth. Also themes of a sim within a sim, and even thousands of worlds, and nobody knew how many worlds on top of worlds there were. The ones creating the sims always thought that they were the master of reality, basically, until they found out they were in a sim. Also a very interesting and plausible take on possession, or at least a form of possession in that movie, where avatars would just download in. I guess the whole concept of gods would download into people and sort of take them over, and then the people would have fuzzy or weird memories about it all, and kind of related to their dream world where they thought some of these things were dreams, tying into themes of the deja vu phenomena and dreams and dream memories, and what they thought were dreams were actually real and had to do with other realities and other things related to this phenomena. Also themes of consciousness transfers and how that could be completed by technology, and even how in real life this is an ancient theme. Ancient Egyptians, Sumerians, and ancient elite stuff, Mystery Babylon, hidden knowledge for thousands of years, consciousness transfers. Also real stuff they're working on now. But the movie, this 13th floor movie, is from the 90s that showed quantum computers, the exact black rows of the D-Wave cubes that were responsible for creating simulated worlds that people thought it was all real. The same D-Wave black rows that people would find out about at least over a decade later, and here was in this movie, all in advance. Way in advance. He even hugs one of these black D-Wave quantum computers that you've seen, and he says it's breathing. Fast forward, call back, forward to real life in the early 2020s when all this stuff was revealed and started being reported on and popular a lot, in TikTok and everywhere else. This was an exact quote, again, to these beings being described as, quote, these quantum computer cubes being described as alien alters that sounded like they were breathing and had a heartbeat. This was an actual quote. And again, I had mentioned that the D-Wave founder, Gordy Rose, says that they are literally going into other dimensions and pulling things out of them with these computers and bringing them back here. This is all exactly what I'm talking about. And I think people think this is fantasy or don't actually know what they're talking about. because you actually hear what they're saying and see what is happening in this world. Also, stay tuned for the Impossible Technology comp I'll have coming out in the future. Also, on the theme of simulation, you can check out Scripted Reality on my page, or even Coded Fiction, and especially the Random Blast segment. Both of those show more themes that I won't cover here at all. Totally different data set that really tie in to this TV show and this beyond coincidence proof of a scripted, simulated reality with lots of weird things. Also, in other videos I've covered phenomena like how it would rain animals sometimes. This phenomena where it would rain animals down from the sky, almost like they were spawning in. Except the weird thing, it would always be just one animal that would rain down. It would never be a mixture of lots of animals like you would expect if it was some sort of like a wind stream that would catch creatures from a pond or something and then drop them somewhere else. But it would only be just one species of creature every time. Things being spawned in and falling from an open window of heaven. That specific phrase, windows and doors of heaven being opened, is found all throughout the scriptures. Again, also referencing the James Gates computer coding, literal specific computer coding that he found encoded into reality. Also, a video game developer in Silicon Valley is convinced that we are all in a simulation. At the time, he shared the latest, at the time, VR technology headset was so good that when he was in it, there were times his brain automatically forgot he was in a headset because of the way that the human and brain senses work. His visual and brain perception were receiving certain signals that disabled a memory that he's wearing a headset, being so immersed in the illusion. He was playing ping pong and he actually tried to put it down on the table, and only the wires on the physical device made his brain remember he was in a simulation. Once something so immersive like that is built or turned on, the brain would almost instantly forget and adapt to the new reality and the signals it was receiving. I will say this, that the post-2020 world really feels different and off. Again, also, not coincidentally, that is the exact same time tons of these 5G towers simultaneously went up all over the entire world when it was closed down with agendas. Towers also being a part of the Matrix tech in the movie and comics that accomplishes putting people into the literal Matrix, by the way, where they're all in a false simulation. About to get even more interesting and examine the exact timeline that the real Truman Show Endgame started. The real Truman Show, a play on words, obviously, the Truman Show movie, but again, Harry Truman's term. The presidential term is why the movie was named that. And again, Truman also invented the CIA, which is the super mind control organization. About to get into this completely insane timeline and really connect a lot of pieces for you, totally eye-opening about the real Truman Show.
So might wanna skip me with that gun talk. After death I've seen the sun walk unchalked. Go against God's elect, only got one shot. Spitting bullets back in your gun, now watch it uncock. What's a handgun to a Samsung Galaxy in his hand, and I ain't talking Samsung. To my Truman Show, these walls never age, never wear Rufio, never fake. Below ice cold in the studio, God almighty, bring my brother this in the uniform. Flipping lights, turning hip-hop into my Truman Show.
Good morning!
Morning! Good morning!
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Harry Truman Code in The Truman Show, also one of these documentary movies, and again, the reason it was named that, we've all been in the Endgame, or maybe in a simulation, since then. Or you could at least see how these pieces work together and decide what you want, but aside from this exact Matrix timeline, and Harry Truman creating the CIA in 1947, a world control organization, the 40s in Harry Truman's term included all of the following mega significant events. The United Nations being established in 1945, later leading to the Antarctic Treaty, again the same themes, the place where no one's allowed to go, the United Nations World Controller, and also even how this country is signed over to United Nations and peacekeepers during time of duress. Again, tying with Operation High Jump, the Antarctica aspect, that happened in 46 and 47, Antarctica and Admiral Byrd, secret research stations, and other secret things happening there, and again leading to the worldwide treaty about Antarctica, and even how that's referenced in the first cutscene of The Truman Show. You'll find that this term in the 40s is when the occult science race really started. I've covered this occult science race before. It even has to do with Nazis and the Vril and Hitler, Die Glock Bell, and all this ancient Indian god stuff. I've all covered these same deities. The summer of 46. What are the chances that these three people would be born all in the summer of 46? These mega significant people. All, again, right after the Babylon working rituals that happened in the summer of 45. All occult rituals about birthing the Antichrist and other things, basically. Happening in the summer of 45, and a year later, these three people are born. Also, the percentage mathematically is 0.003% that these three people would be born this close together, each 22 days apart, and all three become presidents. Or how the presidents are all bloodline and all Masons again. All these same things keep tying in. Earth handlers. Roswell, happening in 1947. UFOs over DC a few years later. And all this mega alien UFO explosion. And even projects and all this stuff all happening then. The 40s, the ENIAC computer, which by the way is Cain backwards. Also, I'll mention how maybe related, the ENIAC, it's probably related to the Egyptian Ennead. The Ennead is basically 9 Egyptian deities that form one thing. But the ENIAC, a first mega computer that could do all these modern components and able to do super calculations and beyond. The first predecessor to the quantum computers we have now. The ENIAC was built in the 40s. Along with the development of quantum physics and nuclear physics, all in the 40s during the occult science race that really began changing the world dramatically and very quickly. The beginning of the real Truman Show that we're in, and all about the Endgame that we're coming up on. This timeline also featured the commercial development of the TV. The 40s, the sound barrier was broken, had the first developments of radar, ballistic missiles, jet aircrafts, and tons of other things like that. This is also when the atomic age begins, nuclear testing begins, this arcane alchemy. Also, the theory of evolution really emerged strong, and again, all this space stuff and going into space, and all this alien stuff. Are you seeing the big picture yet of how all of these things work together? Shortly after that, the multiverse theory was also introduced for the first time, right in line with all of the alien stuff, leading to the Endgame. Forces were unleashed into the world during this time period. Also, the golden age of music, which is what it was termed, and mass music production in general, which owned labels and companies and production, all began during this time. Also, the film and Hollywood explosion began during this time. Along with the McDonald's and the fake food culture also as well. Again, Hitler, the Holocaust, wars, World War II specifically, Cold War, Pearl Harbor, D-Day, Nagasaki, the first atomic bombings all happening during this time frame. And also, very, very significantly, Israel becoming a nation again, and the relation to that in end-time prophecy, a very significant event in 1948, signaling the final generation biblically. Also, there's a psalm that says our generations of man are maybe about 80 years. 80 years from 48 would bring us to 2028. Maybe we'll see if that ties in at all. All of this in or bordering Truman terms. I think all of it was actually in his terms. The real Truman Show completely unleashed and all headed towards the final alien deception endgame. The final alien card. And the same thing in mind when evolution and multiverse theory and all this stuff started coming out. Always having the endgame in mind, the completion of this mystery Babylon grand work. All throughout time. Also right here at the disclosure, as this movie is coming out, sim wrapping up soon. Time to escape the Matrix. Warning. Fair warning, the next section about to completely show you how everything is fake. Enter at your own risk. Matrix control and the fake Matrix. Everything is fake. It's almost like we're aliens now in a realm that we're not really native to. Fake food, fake water. Not only drinking, but showers and pools. Chlorinated tap sludge slam dunked through 90-degree angle rusty moldy pipe systems that's barely filtered. Inside with AC on computers sitting all day. intentionally conditioned through generations immune and microbiome systems to be away from real nature. Now physically and legally, the only way really to survive is in these beast cities. For the most part, at least. By the way, fake everything also equals fake people. Like we're not even real humans anymore. A subjugated domestic genetic spin-off that's not even real, literally. Aside from genetically edited CRISPR people or bioenhanced people, but examine the following. Chemical sludge sunscreen, most people can't even be in the sun for more than a few hours. Weird how animals don't have this problem, at least not in the same way. You can look at lizards or whatever, animals can lay out in the sun and just be fine. Most humans can't be in the sun for more than an hour or two. Talking that direct heat sunlight. Also this sexualized matrix logic where everybody has to just be the sexual fantasy being. And how the matrix has logic. If you have white hair, which the Bible says is a form of honor, the matrix says to dye it. God gives the beard as a form of his image and authority, and the matrix says to shave it off. Wisdom teeth, called wisdom, matrix just says rip them out, they're worthless. Wisdom teeth actually do have spiritual and lots of health purposes that they're now discovering, as well as other things and organs they said were worthless. What an insult to God that must be to think he just creates junk stuff that has no purpose. DNA GMO people eating GMO food. Anunnaki bred batteries. Not to mention human cloning trials in the past. Even in the 90s, Clinton had to ban this. It was going on then and before, even back to the 1800s, but also in some places now, and obviously in secret still. Wondering why you're fake all the time? Wondering why everything is fake or people feel sick? Check this out.
You want to know why the modern human is so sick? They're not unlucky, they're just toxic. You wake up out of your flame retardant mattress with your fake feathers in your pillow and your polyester pillowcase. You go wash your face with synthetic fragrance and phthalates and parabens. You jump in the shower with trihalomethanes in your unfiltered hot steamy shower. You jump into your car with the recirc button on so you're breathing your own CO2. You go to the coffee shop and you have mycotoxins in your coffee with microplastics in your cup. You go out to hot yoga with your synthetic polyester pants on, so you get PFAS chemicals absorbing into your skin. You try to detox, but the sweat just gets reabsorbed back into your body. You go out to lunch with your friends, so then you get some hybridized wheat, which is going to spike your blood sugar, tear apart your gut lining. Now you have intestinal permeability, so you have undigested food particles getting into the bloodstream. That creates IBS symptoms. So then you go to the GI doctor. They prescribe a couple medications to fix your reflux. It helps the symptoms but creates nutrient deficiencies and leads to long-term health issues. But now you have acne, so you go to the dermatologist. They recommend a steroid or maybe some Accutane or spironolactone. You try that, makes the skin a little bit better, but you didn't fix the root cause. You come home, the lawn guy sprayed your lawn, your dog goes out in the lawn, brings the chemicals back in your house, on your couch, in your bed. You put some scent beads in your laundry, so now you have synthetic fragrances disrupting your endocrine system. You get diagnosed with some sort of hormone imbalance or a thyroid issue. You chase that for years and years, but yet you've never even considered all the toxins just before noon.
How about foods, hospitals, and medicine in general? I'm fine. I ate that when I was a kid. No, you didn't. Look at the few and basic ingredients and how it's now become a chemical smorgasbord. This is completely ridiculous. This isn't real food at all. 5,000 years of eating bread, so why does it seem like everyone suddenly has a gluten intolerance? What happened? I think you know. The illusion of choice. 10% of companies own 80% of products in the grocery store. In fact, the entire matrix is like this. The whole world, actually. When butter was demonized, they sold margarine. When tallow was demonized, they sold Crisco. When eggs were demonized, they replaced it with cereal. When red meat was demonized, they sold soy. When raw milk was demonized, they sold infant formula. When leather was demonized, they sold PVC. When wool was demonized, they sold polyester feedstock. When animal fat was demonized, the seed oil industry grew. Food's banned everywhere but America. In fact, America is one of the only countries where certain ingredients or chemicals are even legal. They feed us poison, so we buy their cures. They ban our medicine, so they can mandate theirs. Why do hospitals feed sick people the exact food that made them sick? Because healing was never the real goal in that building. Look at the tray. White bread, sugary jello, seed oils in every sauce, margarine where butter should be. So they're feeding inflammation to people who came in already inflamed? Yes, the same sugar that feeds the bad bacteria, the same oils that burden the cells, the same flour that clogs the gut. But surely someone would notice. Someone would speak up. The system is not built to heal, it's built to manage. A managed patient comes back, a healed one does not. Customers for life. You had to drive past 8 liquor stores, 6 weed shops, 3 vape stores, 15 fast food restaurants, and the billboards for drugs, gambling, and alcohol to pick up your illegal raw milk and questionably legal peptides, because the government cares about your health. In America before the Rockefeller era, hospitals used morning prayers, linen sheets, light therapy, open windows in hospitals, sunbathing decks, homeopathy, copper utensils, and herbal medicine. Lots changed. Paying rent or mortgage or bills on things, survival mode, fear-based, frequency lowering, entire state of being. Imagine a fish paying to swim and live in the ocean. A bird paying to fly in the air and to live in a nest. Imagine an animal paying to live in its natural habitat it was born into. How did the government acquire the entire earth and charge everybody for everything that God already gave us for free? Like it's literally illegal to be homeless, basically. All land and all water are basically claimed, regulated, and taxed. The fruit has been taken off the trees, intentionally bred not to have fruit, taken off the trees and then sold back to us in markets. Water claimed and taken from us and then sold back to us. Water used to be taken from rain and fresh springs like all ancient civilizations for thousands of years. Now it's all claimed, banned, and they have to sell it to us. Land, they took all the land that existed before it had no lines drawn, and they drew lines around it and said, pay if you want to stand here. Paying just to exist. Keeping everybody in this fear-based control, like they actually control everything. In fact, you were born already owing for it, born into it. And this is a callback to the Matrix. The Matrix, you are a slave, Neo, speech that Morpheus gave. A prison you were born into. Imagine existing without debt, without constant bills, without needing permission for everything. Water, food, shelter was already here and given to us by God. So how did we get convinced that this is normal? In fact, most feel soul dead already because they know it's not normal or right, and many people are waking up to this ultimate truth. There is hope in all this, by the way, and ultimately a good ending, but this phase of awakening is necessary. Symbolism being the ultimate language, this is a worldwide cabal. Illusions of countries are just separate farm experiments, but the same symbolism is found all over the world, and it's not a coincidence. All countries are also basically in debt. So who exactly are they in debt to? Maybe the ones who think that they own Earth and your soul and make everything extra difficult. Can someone explain how this became this? Licensing liberty laws, that no state shall convert a liberty into a license and charge a fee thereof. However, you can clearly see everything from fishing, hunting, driving, and so on. You can check out the list. You need a license for and have to pay a fee for, despite what the license limiting law is. In fact, amongst the many things you can't do without government permission, build a house, drive a car, go fishing, collect rainwater, hunt, cross the road, get married, leave the country, start a business, fly on a commercial plane, take drugs, or work. Actually try to think of something that doesn't require government permission. Now repeat after me. I am free. Building the beast system. Tired of living inside a giant pyramid scheme controlled by criminals who gaslight us into believing they are the good guys. 5G on license plates for wireless tracking. My neighbor who kept his boat beside his house was ordered by the city to put up a fence to hide the boat from view. Well played by that guy. But seriously, how did we get to this point? Trump pardons man sentenced to 7 years in prison for fixing his own tractor. That's not a joke. In fact, check out this clip.
Do you know that I pardoned a man last week who was sentenced to 7 years in jail because he got caught fixing his car or his truck? I said, I like to always say, what did he do? Sir, he was fixing his truck. I said, how long is he getting? 7 years. I said, say it again. It's the first time I've ever heard it. Like 2 weeks ago, I gave him a pardon because he had to go to jail because he was fixing his tractor or his truck. So I promise, Ken, if you ever get caught fixing your tractor or truck, I will give you a pardon, okay? No, but these are the crazy Democrats. That's what they want.
We got 100,000 flock cameras monitoring us everywhere we drive. Now they want us in cars with cameras to monitor us 24/7 with kill switches, along with millions of Ring cameras that they can access remotely without your consent. We are the flock. Man builds park stairs for $500 after city plans to spend $65,000 on the same project, causing outrage in the town over tax dollar waste. Apparently, after he did it himself, they made him take the stairs down. Then the city proposed to build them again at the original price on the proposal. Flock cameras are on bike trails. They're not for reading license plates. They are for tracking humans everywhere you go. I'm trying to figure out how we went from reduce your carbon footprint to building AI pollution factories in every state. When normies go to prison for collecting rainwater to be self-sufficient, but billionaires get tax exempt to extract billions of gallons a day from water table. Something broke inside of me when I learned grocery store vegetables in the US are sprayed with sprout inhibitors to prevent people from planting them. China's population is 1.4 billion people. America has 320 million people. China has been under a surveillance state for decades. 600 million surveillance cameras. They can identify citizens with facial recognition with a 98.5% accuracy, and they record every move by their citizens. Yet China only has 450 data centers. What data is the US gathering that would justify this? The United States has 5,427 data centers, making it the largest data center market in the entire world. As of October 2025, there were 449 data centers in China, the most of any country or territory in the Asia-Pacific region at the time. Now to be beat by the United States with over 10 times that amount, despite having way less citizens. Can you see what's happening here? Again, you can't even pretend to die because the Matrix has to keep a census and a hold on you. How about school education and work? Nobody wants to work anymore. Wrong. People don't want to work 60 hours for 40 hours of pay, see their boss more than their kids, beg for raises that can't keep up with inflation, grind through weekends just to stay afloat, or get laid off over an email. Nobody hates work. They hate working for nothing. 1970s. Walk into a business, give the manager a firm handshake, work there for 40 years and retire with a full pension. 2026. Do 5 rounds of interviews, take a Myers-Briggs personality test, create a 30-day strategic presentation, get ghosted by an automated email. Imagine how much propaganda it took to convince you that your kids are better off being separated from you most of the week from ages 5 to 18. Sorry to be the one to tell you, but they use feminism to get women into the workforce so they can tax both parents and raise your child. 18-year-olds after 13 years of government education can't build a house, can't work on a car, no idea how to farm, economically illiterate, historically illiterate, no idea how our bodies work, no clue about healthy nutrition, is chronically depressed. Become self-educated. The system wants you to be its slave. Nowadays, everything has to be connected to the Antichrist grid. Air fresheners, AC units, generators, headphones, TVs, cars, literally everything. Speaking of cars,
imagine waking up for work, walking outside, and your car is driving itself away because you were 3 days late on its payment. In 2021, Ford quietly filed for a patent where if you fall behind on payments, the car starts cutting off features like air conditioning and even plays annoying sounds. And finally, your car could just drive itself away to a repossession lot, and in some cases, it would even drive it to a junkyard if the car wasn't worth much. This isn't happening in cars yet, but patents show what companies are preparing for. Companies already control what you pay with personalized pricing, what you see through algorithms, and even features in products you've already bought. And sadly, this is just the next step of corporations controlling nearly everything we own. If you want to see what other companies are planning things like this, you can check the Conscious Spend website where we're building a database about how ethical companies truly are.
cars not only tracked, where you don't even have control over things you own anymore. Ownership isn't even really owning anything anymore. It's like a license fee to use things that you supposedly own, which is ridiculous, and goes against the licensing fee. They want everybody in a car so they can control and monitor and keep the debt cycle continuance alive and going on. In fact, you can't even be a pedestrian in certain places to get to places because that goes against their agenda. Or just being harassed and asking for your papers just for walking. Politics, governments, and elections, think we've all seen what can happen there and what it all really is. Plug to Conspiracy Road Trip. Check out the Hoover Dam segment if you want to know more about that. The term prison planet, basically because that's what it is and just going to get a lot worse. But it will get better after that. Some of these things just have to happen. And again, it was wrote. It is written. Again, a specific Bible phrase. The script has been wrote for this place. Too much surveillance and control. Hold on for the hope because this reality can be infuriating on a spiritual level. I think this horse right here has the right idea, by the way. Computers, programs on computers used to be local. Again, now everything has to be connected. Now they are way slower because of this domination need to be connected so they can monitor everything. You literally, I don't even know what program some of you are using, but can't even type or edit fast enough with certain things without constant mistakes, interruptions, or buffering, all the psychotic need to monitor everything. Literally slower than it was 30 years ago despite supposed advancements. But the advancements weren't for us. They are working against us. 1913, the Federal Reserve started, which isn't really real. It's just they've convinced everybody it is. Also the same year we got permanent taxes. Not a coincidence. Houses. In the 60s, over half of 30-year-olds had home ownership. This has declined over the years, now around 10%. Leading us into full-fledged camps and the matrix pods they've had planned for decades that they're all driving us into. How about being arrested and imprisoned for 7 years for fixing your own tractor and needing a presidential pardon? How about arrested with felony charges for a Facebook post in Texas for saying that data centers were turning their water brown? This actually happened, which now, by the way, has tons of videos all showing the same thing. And again, this is America. This is happening in not Europe. Things like that are kind of common in Europe, unfortunately. Town hall meetings here in America where people are being prohibited from bringing up flock cameras recently by threat of force or arrest. Threats of being arrested because you had a couple bees on your property.
Did you know if there's bees at your house, you can go to jail? Here is the quick story. The other day, my neighbor, she knocks on my door and she says, "My exterminator saw you had some bees around your house." They're removing mine. They could remove yours. I didn't see any bees at my house, and I'm not really worried about bees. I kind of like them. I think they're good for the environment. So like a week or two goes by, and then an official from the state comes up with this notice right here. Notice of violation and order to correct. And what does it say? Bee infestation. I have a bee infestation, and I have to remove the bee infestation by June 12th and no later. And if I don't, I will have to pay $1,000 fine. If I don't pay that fine, I will go to jail, and there'll be all types of legal implications. Come with me while we look for the bee infestation. All right, I'm not seeing anything up there, and I'm not seeing anything there. Now, apparently the infestation is on the house, and you can see it. The exterminator saw it. Apparently the neighbor, she never saw it. She's taking the exterminator's word.
And the official alluded to somebody calling and complaining continuously. And is that the neighbor? Is that the exterminator? Who would that be?
All right, I think I might have found it. I think that's it, boys. I think it's right there. Here's a little better view. I think it's about 2 inches by 4 inches or so. But I don't see a single bee, wasp, hornet, anything at all even sitting on that thing. That thing's smaller than a deck of playing cards. Is that an infestation worth jail? And I also don't think that a neighbor should be able to complain about something, have a state official show up, and then threaten you with fines and jail time and also deadlines to do something with zero investigation. I don't think that's very fair. Can we just call the police and complain about our neighbors and say, hey, I think they got a tiger in the backyard. I've seen it a few times. So I'm gonna call this Mark Polson guy, the one who delivered this message. We're gonna have a chat about the bees and the neighbor, and I'll keep you guys updated. So follow for fitness and apparently shenanigans.
Makes you want to seek your own land, which again is God's original design. Good luck with complete travel monitoring and policing and prohibiting, along with even fake maps. Probably hiding hidden lands. Elite lands and islands intentionally outside of the Matrix experiment farm control. Places that, of course, no one is allowed to go, and no one polices these places. No military or country has any authority, but of course that they can go. Also, interpersonally, we live in ultimate Jezebel culture. This is a spirit on an interpersonal and social level of the human condition and mind. Jezebel runs this entire matrix. This can be men or women, but mainly Jezebels, they practice literal sex magic, whether they're aware of it or not. It's in their programming. For many, it's a way of life, and it is actually what they are. The whole love bombing, seduction, manipulation, deception. This is literal satanic black magic. Aside from witchcraft agents doing actual sex magic, when you love bomb somebody and you manipulate them, this is literally what you're doing through chemistry and internal alchemy and how the brain works. It's a total sex magic manipulation. Doesn't have to have all the candles, chants, and energy manifestation rituals, although there is a lot of that too now in this matrix. So beware of this Jezebel culture and the people in this matrix. It's much better to be solo than tied down to a devil with a mask, who is literally hunting your soul. And some don't even know that they're doing it because, again, they're deceived and robotically trained automaton NPC programs just doing what they were programmed. Again, this can be male or female. Happens a lot more with females, but I will also say thank God for good females. You know who you are out there, and I really appreciate you. You are a rare gem in this place. Victimhood psychology of Jezebel, and then just moving on to the next. Just keep continuing this programming. Physiognomy also gives Jezebel away instantly. Once you recognize it, you can't unsee it. Certain looks in their eyes. The whole lip-biting, seductive thing, that is a Jezebel physiognomy. And once you know it, you know it. Imitated possession programming. And this is how little girls grow up trying to imitate this. In this culture, the whole matrix runs off Jezebel programming, period. Time for the Jehus and Elijahs to arise. By the way, some people can smell the presence of evil spirits in others. You may notice it sometimes if you have this gifting. Again, this is in no way anti-woman at all. This is, even the real good women out there know that this is how most people are nowadays. Speaking of fake humans in Jezebel culture, they have good women convinced that they need to put on a totally fraudulent facade just to keep up with this hypersexualized appearance, which can include fake hair or dyed hair, different color eye contacts, an entire makeup industry to distort their real facial appearance, lipstick to make lips redder, fuller, and more desirable, bras that push up and make breasts look bigger, fuller, and more symmetrical, girdle-type devices to appear thinner, high heels to appear taller, fake nails to fit the look, perfume and deodorant to mask your natural scent, shave everything, and so on. The Fresh Prince even did a little joke bit on this in one of the episodes after a woman ripped off her hair and nails, and he said, "How much of you is real?" And now on top of that, we have camera filters and filters on social media and enhancers. In love, I say just be yourself. Just be who God made you to be. Stop feeling compelled to copy the Jezebel Matrix template just to be accepted. You don't have to do this. What or who is real and meant for you will accept the real you. Some of you may also even need to figure that out. What and who is the real you? Again, men not being exempt from this either. It's just unfortunately women have been super targeted with this kind of stuff. The same pattern as the Garden of Eden and the tree. Satan targets women and then uses them to destroy men and others. Godly men and women need to work together and encourage and love each other and keep the enemy and his propaganda and his lies out of their lives. Which is again why so much attack on the family unit. Satan needs to destroy that, because when you have a strong family unit that has God first and will keep the enemy out, this is God's structure. This is why this has to be destroyed in this matrix for them to accomplish their endgame. Why you see all the attacks on the family and all the TV sitcoms where dads are idiots, all the propaganda against men, and lots of other stuff. How fake has the Matrix become? Believe it or not, people actually used to talk to each other in public or line or transport or whatever. And now it's like a weird assault if someone tries to talk to you. What the freak are you doing, weirdo? What the heck do you want, perv? Oh my God, this person looked at me, I feel defiled. These are the common mindsets and attitudes you'll see amongst people. This is brain dead, soul dead, narcissistic Jezebel culture. Granted, there's some people who just keep to themselves, mind their own business, and be quiet. In fact, in this season I'm in, I'm the same way. You probably never catch me initiating conversation with somebody in this season I'm in. However, I would also never treat somebody that way. This is ridiculous. You see it in real life. You see it all over TikTok. You see people filming the grandpa behind them or someone at their gym that literally just looked at them. And this conceited, narcissistic mindset that it's just Jezebel culture. We'll just leave it at that and move on. Like I said, symbols reveal secrets. And the web is a common symbol of witchcraft. You see that everywhere. Aside from the literal World Wide Web and computer matrix, there's the whole weird behavior with spiders called sexual cannibalism is the official term for it. It's where the female spider mates with the male, uses them, and then literally kills and eats them. Spiders and sexual cannibalism and the web and witchcraft and Jezebel culture, these all go hand in hand. Same with these witchcraft Jez portals that are literally demons in an avatar, and it's just spreading. It's bad. These are people that are all part of the hive mind. Moving on from attempted Jezebel slow death to the low-key gas chamber matrix showers. Now don't take this too far. Obviously you're going to be fine if you take a shower, but this is info that you should be aware of. Your shower is a low concentration gas chamber. You walk into it every morning, your skin, lungs, and hair pay the price. A 10-minute hot shower exposes you to more chlorine than drinking 2 liters of tap water. Published, buried. Hot water vaporizes up to 50% of dissolved chloroform into the air you breathe. 104-degree shower temp, closed door, open pores. Your blood absorbs it faster than drinking it. Yes, showers expose you to chlorine, as it is commonly added to municipal water supplies to kill bacteria and pathogens. When you shower, chlorine can be absorbed through your skin and inhaled as vapor, especially in hot water. Yes, inhaling chlorine vapor is dangerous and can cause respiratory issues, irritation of the eyes, nose, and throat, and in severe cases, lung damage or even death. Immediate evacuation from the area and seeking fresh air is crucial if exposure occurs. Now, don't freak out or go too far with this, and remember, hot showers are worse. But knowledge to know that there is a little bit of chlorine vapor that you're absorbing. The everything fake matrix. Showers also notorious for mold and sludge in the faucet head that could cause slow poison or bacteria that could make someone sick over time. All this matrix-like stuff is usually a slow process over time, not an immediate danger. But make sure you check your faucet heads for pink slime or mold or bacteria growth within. Clean and replace them about every year or so. For the replacing in, maybe clean them semi-yearly. The multi-generational long game DNA and mind changes to accomplish their goal. Within 3 generations, since the Truman Show timeline, we're already basically there, and again, this was all planned. Each generation having more problems and getting worse in general. The Endgame. Very hopeless, desperate, sick, brainwashed, DNA poison-bred, mind-controlled automatons to just comply need to be saved and will take the mark of the beast to be human batteries for the fallen. All being driven there. Speaking of poison, ads. Ads are just horrible. How many hours of ads do you think it would take for someone to literally be considered brainwashed in reality? How many hours of ads do you think you've watched in your life? Or just matrix-created programming in general, ranging from movies, music, news, shows, things that are literally called programming, by the way, but in general. Back to ads just alone. I'd wager most people have watched enough hours of ads to be considered clinically insane for the uncounted thousands or more of hours of ads they've been subjected to in their lifetime. Hours, days, or weeks or more of total time alone just listening to medical symptoms and side effects and medical demon-based product names. This is ridiculous. By the way, mute ads. Every time literally that they come on, just mute them. Don't even pay any attention to them. How about the proposed and partially rolled out eye contact ads? The ad will continue when you resume eye contact with the screen. Bro, just draw the line and say no to the Blanca from Street Fighter mind control, brainwashing agenda. Don't forget your Mad Hatter coffee. When being sane in an insane world finally breaks you, just chug a pound of ground mold and paste that Joker grin on your face for a grand time. Mad Hatter coffee. Weave in extra and unnecessary dialogue and repeat product name unnaturally 3 more times in the next 7 seconds. Mad Hatter coffee. Also, I haven't monetized my channel, for now. They gave me the option at 1K, but I declined. Tried to do you a solid. I do have support links, but I never talk about it or ask, but they are there at the end of the video or in description. Definitely take care of yourself or family first. But if you're the type that does that and want to, go for it. But also, I declined for everybody's sake because I hate ads. There is nothing worse than getting in a train of thought to be constantly interrupted with deranged matrix propaganda over and over and over. In certain apps, they do it way too much. Imagine Jesus, Peter, or whoever dropping knowledge or a sermon, and every 5 minutes, he's interrupted by a clown talking about something random and unnecessary and trying to sell it to you. Things we've all gotten used to as normal, but is not normal at all. And it seems like it's all just getting worse. The everything fake matrix. A lot of my videos, especially earlier ones, you'll see I'm not wearing a shirt. Shoulders up view only. But still, this is Matrix polyester world. One, it's savage. I can't imagine John the Baptist being conned into wearing a suit or this Matrix fabric. But these are all fake Matrix frequency reducers. The everything polyester Matrix now, basically. Search online for 100% linen, they'll immediately pull up polyester results like they're dumb or don't care what you're actually asking for. In fact, unless I had to, I went about 2 years with never wearing a shirt unless I had to or had to go somewhere. As far as the frequency, some people can tell more than others, but it's not always an immediate feeling. But over time you notice, and when you do, it's hard to go back. Also, you notice in older videos, hair being totally braided. Completely enhance the clarity of thinking. Also, the Native American braided hair study and their tracking abilities linked to that. Stuff the Matrix will never tell you. The truth they're trying to hide. Just say no to ads. How about fake YouTube videos? And what I mean by that, and this obviously doesn't apply to all, plenty of exceptions, thankfully, or at least some exceptions, but in general, the mind virus, where there is no originality, most most YouTube channels, by the way, are monetized and have an upload spirit. They need to upload to make money, so they'll just keep uploading, dial it in, and put it out. And if they have a big audience, people will just click because they don't know what else to click on. Basically, people, it seems like they're just watching other videos and then just basically repeating them, what everybody else did in videos, with nothing new, no hidden connections, just money for clicks. The dumbing down of society. Meanwhile, I'm over here trying to convince 80% of people that have somehow found me and subbed to watch the free truth that I spent endless hours assembling to help them. I get nothing in return except for the joy of knowing that I try to genuinely help and make a difference in people's lives. So hopefully I have in yours. Anyways, these guys are getting their pockets lined for dumbing you down and just repeating basic stuff and keeping you from all the actual real connections. And again, there are exceptions, thankfully, but as a whole, this is what you will find in the Matrix, on YouTube, and in videos people watch. In fact, a popular creator, I won't name him, I actually like the guy as a person, but I can't watch his videos. 1 minute, he puts up pictures and just talks, and literally 60 seconds on the nose, no matter what he's talking about, the picture will stay up and then just change on the minute. It's just dialed in. 17-minute video, 17 pictures, talking in a slow pace, not really adding anything new. Close to 1 million subs. This is totally system pushed stuff. By the way, I've been called in comments that I'm clearly an Illuminate shill. I think he was going for Illuminati shill. Granted, I did blow up on TikTok pretty big, but pretty quickly at least, but all 500 views over here on YouTube. You know, not usually in the suggested feed ever. Most people won't even click on views or subscriber counts like mine under the false mentality, gee, this must suck, or it would have more views and subs. Again, these are all system psyops and how they hide the real truth and real connections. God already told me that there is a specific remnant I'm talking to for now, and we'll see what happens in the future. The censorship is ridiculous, and aside from me and stuff I've shown you about my TikTok channel and being banned and then rebooting a brand new channel that started to grow quick again, but then 4 out of my last 5 videos were censored and banned and struck down. So basically, I just had enough. It was like being in an ultra toxic marriage relationship where I never did anything wrong, but there was constant unnecessary drama, like being married to just a Jezebel devil. So I had to divorce that. I may get back into TikTok soon though. I do like at least the idea of the format and it's cool, so look for that in the future maybe. But not only me being censored, look at my TikTok favorites tabs. This is my favorite tabs that I screenshotted from my phone. It almost looks like someone has been through my personal folder just to know what to strike down. Kind of weird. But how many things are struck down that someone like me would be interested in? This is just complete targeting. This is an obvious agenda. This is ridiculous. In fact, this will segue right into the official roasting of TikTok. Good old TikTok. Wondering why your For You page is a straight up hot pile of sulfuric dumpster trash? A worthless, boring psyop you wouldn't even want to watch if you were burning in Well, it's probably because TikToxic has 1. Dumb AI programming. 2. Hypersensitive under-reviewing demon-driven censorship. In fact, you might need a virtual hug to comfort you from all the dangerous thoughts that you're clearly terrified of. 3. They want you to be mad so they can harvest all your loosh. 4. Boring, super repetitive, non-interesting repeat content and creator content conundrum upload spirit syndrome. Look, bro, if you want us to waste all our time scrolling on you as the clock goes tick-tock, tick-tock, you gotta come off the deranged, nonsensical learning handicap programming you're clearly running. Plus, your audio is intentionally set to mix in a high-frequency range of damaging treble tones. Don't make me really go in on you. This was the ultra-polite version. Next time you're gonna get hammered with the ultimate hammer of savage truth. Get out of my face, TikTok. Be gone, demon bot. Phones. Phones are designed to be as non-ergonomic as possible, guaranteed to cause problems to your hands, your fingers, your eyes, your spine, your posture in general, your body symmetry, your health, and overall strength, not to mention your brain, which I've already covered a lot on. In fact, I may even include a short segment of solutions one time, just snuck in a video somewhere. Into the 1984 surveillance state beast system already too big to stop now. 1984, good old big bro. The data centers, these are just completely ridiculous with the dirty water and the sickness. And if you haven't heard the noise, real quickly, listen to the noise these things make. This would drive somebody insane. Also, the eminent domain. They can just take your childhood home, tell you you have to move out, and you're just done for. You can't live there, just so they can build a data center. Eminent domain with the data centers. This is ridiculous. Poison chemical AI consciousness water with a forever memory. Water holds memory. Imagine water running through a sentient AI center and basically programming that water, and then that water is sent out for everybody else to use. Interacting with all the nanotech you've probably eaten, drank, breathed, and some have had injected into them. By the way, water control equals population control.
Control the water supply, control the populace. You can't drink, you can't live, isn't it obvious? Wait. New World Order brewing perfect storms. Wait.
It is obvious. Water being diverted to these data centers by the millions of gallons, causing unnecessary hikes in bills, and then the water companies act like they didn't even know what was happening, but of course nothing happens to the data centers, they're just allowed to do it. Also, things like power grid failure and limitations, and people being put on water schedule limitations just so AI can guzzle all your water. Water for machines, but not for humans. This is absolutely ridiculous. The everything fake matrix. The insane fake matrix. The idea like freak human life, just give these AI data centers all of it, while you're on water restriction as your sacrifice to help resurrect Nimrod, and the Nimrod Antichrist fallen grid basically, and to help underworld psychos monitor you 1984 style. Meanwhile, you're not even allowed to collect rainwater in your own yard like ancients have for thousands of years. All the while you pay for it, and they're tax exempt, and the data centers are. And you heard that right, people are losing their childhood homes so these data centers can go up wherever they want. Tax exempt while everybody else's bills are rising, and so many people are outraged. But what will it all amount to? I guess we'll see. Anyway, some weird patterns and info. We'll get into a few clips real quick.
An alarming pattern has emerged thanks to Aaron Brockovich mapping out the location of data centers. The clear pattern being that these data centers are being built in areas suffering from major droughts. So far, her map consists of 33 data centers that are operational, 44 under construction, 27 more proposed facilities. With growing concerns of energy consumption, noise, waste, water usage, the more data centers added to the map, the more this pattern is hard to ignore. A medium to large data center consuming up to 5 million gallons a day, which is the equivalent of having about 10 to 50,000 people using water in one town. Water primarily being used to cool the servers. Why is data centers being put in areas already being hit by drought alarming? We'll take Fayette County, Georgia for example. Data center in Fayette County having secretly sucked down 30 million gallons of water. And we're not talking about the water this data center was expected to use. This was nearly 30 million gallons of water extra that not just residents didn't know about. Fayette County's own water authority had no idea the data center had been using the water. How much water is 30 million gallons of water? Approximately 44 Olympic-sized pools worth of water. No one knew it was happening until residents started complaining about not having water pressure. Come to find out, this data center had multiple lines connected to the water supply that no one knew about. Meaning not only were they using a ton of water, they weren't even paying for it. So is Fayette County one of these areas not dealing with a drought? Not even close. Not only was Fayette County to be found to have 30 million gallons of water used by the data center no one knew about, this area is suffering from the highest level drought you can have. Experts describing it as the worst dry spell in nearly 20 years. Kind of drought where people who live in this area of Georgia have to deal with a year-round water schedule, where if they're caught using water outside of their scheduled times, they could not only be fined, but they potentially could have their water disconnected. Did Fayette County's data center lose their water? Nope. Not only causing alarm, but adding to the ever-growing uneasiness with the ever-growing amount of data centers in the US.
Kids close to these data centers are starting to have heartburn. Elderly folk are having higher rates of early onset dementia. Chickens lay 50% less eggs. We are seeing calves, cows, goats, and sheep and pigs lose 30% of their body weight.
I have a conspiracy theory regarding these data centers.
No way.
2026 into 2027 is going to be that super El Nino. They're saying the hottest Earth has been in human history.
That's crazy.
But it's like we're also building these data centers that put off an extreme amount of heat. The ocean right now, like specifically the Pacific, holds 11 million terawatt hours of energy.
Never heard of that.
But they said that the whole planet uses 25,000 terawatt hours per year. So we're having an excess of 11 million terawatts being released into the atmosphere. They're saying it's literally going to be the hottest temperatures Earth has ever experienced in known human history. Insane storms, droughts, famines. But it's like, are they using this as an excuse because all these data centers are popping up all over the world?
They say it's the birth pangs of the Antichrist is what causes the famine and the earthquakes and all this stuff. So when they say birth, these data centers are maybe the birthing.
The birth pains of what is to come. Where have you read that? What? The Bible. It's all in the Bible.
Speaking of data centers, China has them underwater at no cost. No land disruption, although still not good for the sea and the environment, but at least way better. I mean, these things need to be cooled. The US just putting them up in scorched land areas and filtering all the water. China also has these wind-powered and underwater data centers. Wind-powered. This is at least smarter. Also, China, with these Matrix Sentinel snake-like robotic worker technology rolled out to work on power lines and fix them automatically and stuff like that they're rolling out. China, less than 500 data centers. USA, 5,000 data centers, all going up with mega urgency like never before. 10 times worse than the so-called surveillance state of the country China. China also now commercially has the brain chips available ahead of Musk. Also, if you don't take these bio upgrades, you will be so far behind everybody else in society eventually. And you also eventually will know what happens to people who don't take the mark. Probably has something to do with the mass US ordering of guillotines a while back and tons of portable FEMA caskets to hold multiple bodies from a decade or so ago. The long game, multi-generational grand work at play for the pieces that can put the pieces together and see what's happening. By the way, clearly they don't care if you talk about Jesus or conspiracies, but they do, however, care when people make connections like this and don't fall for the mind control propaganda and can connect it back to the original ancient way of Yeshua and the original ancient scriptures. These connections are really what the system hates. Data centers. You may have heard of the one the size of Manhattan. The size of Manhattan, a data center that big. How about one twice the size of Manhattan in Utah, 40,000 acres? Twice the size of Manhattan. Someone is just straight up on something, like for sure, seriously. Like the controllers are on something. Guzzle all the water, but again, you get in prison for catching rainwater in your own yard to be self-sufficient. This actually happened to an old granny in Florida, an old grandmother arrested for catching rainwater, and it's happened to other people as well. Speaking of water, no coincidence, in 1945, also the Truman timeline if you remember, is when drinking 8 glasses of water a day was recommended. Also not coincidentally the same year they added fluoride to the water supply. Fluoride breaks down mental barriers and makes one more susceptible to control, basically, and mind control, amongst other things. I covered this in The Grand Illusion, along with a lot of other things you should check out if you haven't. All this is directly related to 2020 and why the world was completely shut down and all these 5G quantum towers suddenly went up everywhere during that time, all connected. And many people willingly or forced to get jabbed with nano-infused potions. Then the big AI boom and Stargate announcements. All by very strict and strategic timing and planning. This is total Matrix hood. Truman Show timeline creating the CIA, which is not James Bond. It is secrecy, fear, manipulation, MK Ultra, mind control, torture, blackmail, occult tactics, and a moral vacuum hiding behind national security. MK Ultra patents and more. Thought transmission through modulated electromagnetic wave beams, influencing thoughts and actions with a receiver. Communication systems, a method of inducing brainwave analysis and brain activity. Therapeutic behavior modification program, compliance monitoring and feedback system. Apparatus for audibly communicating speech using radio frequency hearing effect. Remote magnetic manipulation of nervous system. Syringe implanted identification transponder. And a lot more patents. You can pause or I'll slow down and go deeper into them sometime. Also on Creepy Fallen Angel Science, I did a few shorts on these patents. Check it out on my comps list. Moving on, but they can record human brainwave patterns for emotions such as fear or anger and broadcast them through cell towers to induce fear or anger in the population. How many of you have probably experienced this? Human brains function at a hertz frequency that can be hacked by modern technology. Absolute fact. Google using almost 400,000 of gallons of water a day. Speaking of water, you also should be aware that China reports on spy turtles and spy fish being deployed for intelligence gathering methods. Snooping in the waters. And of course, the good old AI-driven wrongful arrest that need lawsuits to save innocent lives. Oh, what a wonderful matrix this is. No wonder that feeling has changed. Flock cameras to bypass the need for warrants. Just go ahead and forget all warrants and constitutions. Just spy on anybody any way that you want. And also people using it for personal reasons, which has happened. Even in MIB, they have these special cameras. You see Agent K checking up on his former wife with these cameras, and at least 14, some say 18 or more now, police officers have been caught doing this, using them for their own personal interests. Bypassing warrant needs as if phones, TVs, Wi-Fi, and power line E&F spying wasn't enough. These track everything, how long you've been at a place and where you go to next, etc. Again, connect all this with the data centers, quantum computers, and the idea of the 13th floor simulation that I talked about earlier. One thing's for sure, since the real Truman Show began in the 40s up till now, recently and quickly, the feeling has changed. The frequency of life and existence is just different. That feeling changed. That feeling changed. Speaking of changes, the Mandela effect. Look at the left side, look at the right side. Which side looks correct and that you remember? The left side is officially false, and the right side is apparently what they say it's always been. But I know what I saw. Tower of Babel, they tried to reach God. Still trying to replace him. AI just the new method of Babel. China beats Elon Musk to launch world's first commercial brain chip. You know where that leads. 1990s, eat fluorescent cereal with 50 grams of sugar, drink water directly from a rusty garden hose, fall out of a tree, bounce back the next day. 2026, sleep at a slightly wrong angle, require 6 weeks of physical therapy. All this GMO food, GMOing, and technology has something to do with it. That feeling changed. That feeling definitely changed. But don't get depressed. You're all overcomers with God-given gifts. You have an audience of one. God is your audience. As long as you please Him, that is your goal. But you will find solutions to all this stuff. You will overcome it. You will find favor with God and with others, and might even have a great and wild adventure to laugh about with the Messiah one day. So stay strong. And if all of this makes you feel something, it should. But there's also a lot more to it. Solomon, the wisest man of all, he said that all of this is worthless. He said everything is worthless. How's that for your motivational pep talk, by the way? All is meaningless, all is vanity. The ways of this world and the things of this world. This really should drive you towards an eternal perspective, and again, making it all about God and others. Servanthood. These works will last through the fires and they will transfer into the afterlife. They'll also give you a testimony, keyword being test there, but there's realness and there's hope in everything that you do. You know, you might get depressed hearing about all this, but again, remember what I said. Remember the eternal perspective. Remember there is a purpose for all this. It was all wrote and it will have a good ending. And even Solomon, the wisest, got it wrong sometimes, believe it or not. which God intentionally leaves out there as mysteries for you to ponder. This world definitely needs a change quickly. A hero, a savior. Well, not that. Not Ernest saving the world, while tying into the video game and sim joke, but not Ernest, Yeshua, Jesus, the real savior and hero, coming soon to help you escape the Matrix. Closing it all out here, having these realizations has two basic healthy responses, I would say. One, again, just doing the best you can and helping others. And two, seeking the exit spiritually. I've obviously mentioned the rapture a bunch of times and how the scripture talks about being worthy to escape all of these things. This is a blessed hope and a mystery revealed throughout time in the scriptures, something that we can look forward to. God's word never lies. Tons of psyops against the rapture, but it's clearly in there. Thoughts like the devil being chained and released for the little season. I went into this recently, but the Bible says that the Antichrist will basically wear out and overcome the saints. But, and a big but, it's not the final ending or outcome, but it must happen because it was written. It's all part of this grand plan and story. Simulation, TV show. God watches to see who understands and seeks him. Your good deeds are being recorded in heaven, and God won't forget you. This is all temporary. There's definitely hope in this insane matrix, and in fact, you may be born for such a time as this. In fact, you may not even know what your end time role is yet, or who you are, or who you will become here, or especially there. But there may be heroes amongst us, chosen by God to be revealed in time in this last age. Some of you amongst the Savage Truth remnant may be amongst that category. Remember, the kingdom of heaven is watching, and if you're a real one for him, it'll be all good. He's even left us with love letters and verses of encouragement and perspectives like Romans 8:18. All the suffering you experience here will amount to nothing once you're revealed in glory with him, and once you're with him and see him for who he truly is. All of this will mean nothing. You'll forget about this suffering completely, especially in comparison to God's greatness. And also promises that he will wipe away the tears, pain, and memory of it all forever. You won't even remember any of the pain, but you will remember the good and be able to take that with you. In fact, he's going to run it all back, but the right way and the perfect way, with his original plan without sin, and with the devil being locked up forever with no escaping. The perfect way, with a perfected soul from amongst his chosen gems of Eretz, the earth realm simulation. The perfected soul is created and forged through the fires of this realm. Also giving you respect among your angelic brethren as an endurer and an overcomer who remain loyal to the king, and having a skill set fit for the new earth and the Messiah's reign in the New Jerusalem and the new earth. Knowing only that the blood of Jesus is what makes you worthy. Also, you must know the authority you have as a blood-bought child and warrior of God Almighty here and now in this age, knowing that you're here for a purpose. There's a lot of people that you can help. And flex that God-given authority as you're led by his wisdom against evil. Angelic armies on call, the whirlwind of God on call for you. You may pray about things for a long time, seeing nothing happening, but don't give up. Eventually it will. He left us a map and an invitation and party festival holy portal patterns to celebrate and seek him and to learn about him. He is seated on his throne and earth is his footstool. All we have to do is love him and endure. Make his commandments above everything, loving him first and helping others. That's pretty much it. Try to do your best to stay joyful and keep your mind in a good place. Knowing that these things must come about now, you're armed and equipped for it, so you won't be deceived. And you can set off on your own personal mission and maybe even connect with others who are also escaping the Matrix, all with their own missions. Either way, no matter where we are on the end time timeline, whether we're before or after the little season, the finality in the New Jerusalem has yet to come down. This has definitely not happened. And again, Satan will be chained forever. The perfect new earth, the New Jerusalem, it will be completely glorious. And it will be the denouement of it all, which is a French word for conclusion. Wake up, you're on a show. You're being broadcast to thousands, to hundreds, well, to millions in the universe. What are you talking about? You're not supposed to be played in this reality or dimension. We're not quite sure how this broadcast made it here. Well, apparently I've been broadcasting to you from another dimension. Going over notes from Heaven's library. It was just in Heaven's records, in the eternal library of time. Some guy named Savage Truth. I've just been reading his notes. Well, what do you have to say? Well, see you next time on The Savage Truth.
Oh, so Savage Truth is supposed to be some sort of outside of space and time helper reading Heaven's library of mysteries from the future that somehow through some sort of quantum entangled microwave field activated by post-2020 technology resulted in this footage? Please, how stupid. Dislike. Ha, take that, you Jesus lookalike trying to help people for free wannabe.
Despite our hindrance, people are waking up. We must find a way to stop these broadcasts from getting through. The time is getting short.
To be continued. Or will it?
Search the ends of the earth, higher than Devin Mac. Had to walk to hell and back, scrapped to get my melon back. Grew from a pile of dry bones till a cyclone. Blue life, it rooted me like rhizomes. Trichomes shining off, now I'm Enoch with the heat cock. Debo from D-Block, pumping devils like Reebok. The champ cock Gia, that Rocksteady and Bebop. Mo smoke their weed shops, he drop from the treetops. I hit him with a off the top, folded-headed knee drop. Flying prayer finisher, I keep that savage restock. So R.I.P. I guess you'll take these bars to go. The rapture coming out of nowhere like the RKO.
These bars never age, never land. Rufio, never fade. Two below, ice cold in the studio. God almighty with me, my brother, this ain't a human flow. Gripping mics, turning hip-hop into my Truman Show. These bars never age, never land. Rufio, never fade. Two below, ice cold in the studio. God almighty with me, my brother, this ain't a human flow. Gripping mics, turning hip-hop into my Truman Show.
Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Everything that's wonderful is what I feel when we're together. Brighter than a lucky penny when you're near. The rain goes, disappears, dear, and I feel so fine just to know that you are mine.